Blog Talk Radio.
Speak Your Mind Mondays.
Speak Your Mind Mondays.
This is the show where you speak your mind. Unity. Community.
Abibi Fahodie. Abibi Fahodie. Sound off. Sound off.
Speak up.
Stand up and be heard.
Speak up.
Stand up and be heard.
By the people.
For the people.
About the people. We are not all delusional.
Stand up and be heard.
Speak Your Mind Mondays.
Stand up and be heard.
Welcome to Speak Your Mind Mondays. This is an opportunity to get whatever is on your chest about what's going on in the community, in America, on the planet, or anywhere else, and you get to just got something to say, call us. We want to hear from you. You are now listening to Speak Your Mind Mondays on Blog Talk Radio. This is episode 1, and today we're talking about Black love. And I am your host, Foxy Mama, in the studio with my handsome co-host and partner for life, Sifu Makono, the artist formerly known as Jamal or J. Philip Smith.
Hotep people, Abibi Fahodie, how are we doing? This is Sifu Makono. Thank you for joining us on Speak Your Mind Mondays. We would like to give a quick shout out to Enemy Minds Radio for letting us use this platform to speak our minds and have callers and listeners call us at 347-633-9644 to, just speak your mind, what's going on with you. You can chime in on the discussion for the day, which is Black love, and just going over what Black love is. It's a revolutionary act. It's freedom, survival. It's beautiful, and just breaking down these walls and barriers which the Black community may be going through at the moment.
And if this is your first time listening, welcome, family, and thanks for joining us. The Speak Your Mind Mondays program is produced every Monday for you to speak your mind. Press 1 in the call queue so we'll know that you have some things on your mind and that you'd like to chat with us. You can also follow us on Facebook at Speak Your Mind Mondays, and that's Speak YA Mind Mondays on Facebook, or you can email us at speakyourmindtous@gmail.com. That's SPEAKYAMIND, the number 2, US. SPEAKYAMIND, the number 2, US @gmail.com. Or you can call us or send a text message to 919-714-9654. And we'd also like to give a shout out and thank Smooth Matty Matt or Mekanaga for that dope intro. We'll be featuring a few of his songs from this brother who is taking hip-hop back to its original purpose to empower, uplift, and heal our people. So if there are any other artists out there who create revolutionary music as a soundtrack to the movement that speaks to what's going on, send us your music and we'll play it on Speak Your Mind Mondays. Stand up and be heard.
Thank you, people. Again, that number is 347-633-9644 to get into the calling queue or just to listen to Speak Your Mind Mondays. And we will definitely be looking for everyone's call just to say what's on your mind and chime in on the show topic for tonight, which is Black love.
So do we want to just play a song just to set the mood?
Yeah, let's set the mood because we're going to have some other music playing in the background, but let's just set the mood real quick for y'all.
All right. So first up, we're going to play PM Dawn, I Die Without You, since we want to get into the music also. So here you go.
My turn to wish you were lying here. I tend to dream you when I'm in my world, or even imagine your emotions. Tell myself anything. Yeah. Is it my turn to hold you by your hand? Tell you I love you and you hear me. Is it my turn to totally understand? To watch you walk out of my life and not do a damn thing. Whoa, if I could get away from the feeling that I feel, yeah. If I could sacrifice, oh, whatever, baby, whatever, baby. If I could take apart all that I am, for anything that I would not do, done without you. Yeah, baby, done without you. No, done without you. Oh, I apologize for all the things I've done, but now I'm underwater and I'm drowning. Oh, yeah, it's my turn to be the one to cry. Isn't it amazing how some things completely turn around? Oh, take every little piece of my heart. Yeah, take every little piece of my soul. Yeah, take every little bitty piece of my mind. 'Cause it's
All right, and we're back, family. Let us know. Send us a message. Make sure you can hear us. And then we're coming in loud and clear there on the radio tonight. Okay, so that was PM Dawn, I Die Without You, because we thought it was curious as we were doing research for tonight's show. And actually, it all came about because we were listening to some stuff on YouTube one night, getting our feelings in here. But as we were going through the music, we were like, how did it go from being about, love and people wanting to fall in love and singing about what it felt like to be in love to these hoes ain't loyal and making love in the club and all those kinds of things? What do you think about that? I mean, as a brother, like, what happened?
We were watching. It's funny, we were looking at A Different World last night and just seeing the different things that the women were wearing, the men were wearing, how they were speaking to each other, how they were interacting with people around them. And we don't see that anywhere on television, in media, and in everyday life. So it's funny how the term black love was used back then. It was more of an empowering thing. To now, it's kind of more like, oh, okay, well, black love is not really taken seriously anymore, because even back in the 90s, you had all these different groups that were speaking their mind on the things that were going on around them, black power, black people, black interactions. And it's funny how this show came about, because we loved the 90s and we just wanted to get everybody just to feel that blackness again, because it seems the blackness is lacking in the community and everything around it. So we just want to get back to that, and we just want to ask you guys how you think we can get back to this whole ideal of black love, blackness in the community.
Well, even to kind of piggyback on what you just said, or veggie back, on what you just said, and black love just in general, because like you were saying, in the 90s, we love the 90s. This is like there was a lot of positivity going on. There was a lot of uplifting the community, uplifting black people, and there was more of a respect factor, not only for like black men with black women, but also just each of us all respecting ourselves. People were not walking around with their underwear showing, with the pants sagging. Everything was not like skin tight, low rise, crack showing. None of that was going on. So we were very much, in a different space. So it's kind of like, what happened to that space that we all absolutely loved? And so at this point, is it a matter of art imitating life, or is life imitating art as far as the music and television shows go? And also just showing those positive relationships with Black people, Black couples, strong Black couples, positive Black couples. Like, where did all that go? There was a variety of that at one point, and now not so much.
It used to be you see it all the time on television and in their community, to now it's a rare thing to even see Black people married. And it's like, why is that? So if you guys have anything to say on that, please give us a call at 347-633-9644. We would love to hear what you have to say about Black love and just how we interact with each other, men and women, and, just how Black love has affected your life. What do you think about Black love? And just, do you like the 90s, Black love?
Want to get back to that? Okay, so the other thing, too, do we want to tell our story, or do we want to play the Sherazad Ali clip?
Let's do Sherazad, then we can.
You want to tell our story after that? Okay, so let's put on this Sherazad Ali. So this clip is one that a few people kind of got their feathers a little ruffled about. But it is very good. I think it sums up kind of where we are right now in our relationship between Black men and Black women. So let's listen and hear what Sister Sherazad Ali has to say.
My position is that the Black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the Black man is the direct cause of the breakdown in our Black family structures. Now, of course, there are many Black people who consider those fighting words, because as Black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on Black women. I have never said that all Black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done, or that we do daily, that contributes to the breakup of our relationships, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that, being my own person and I'm independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida, and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a Black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know the women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as Black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single Black men. Those apartments belong to Black women who are allowing this to go on in their home. We have not looked at what part of the responsibility do we share. Yes, Black men sell a lot of drugs, and a lot of us Black women get the money from them drugs and buy some of these fancy clothes we wear. Drive around in some of these fancy cars. He is not doing these things alone and without support from us, whether they are good or bad. See, we have a lot of power. We are very strong women. I'm saying that we're using our strength in the wrong direction. We're using it to tear our man down, tear our nation down, instead of building it up. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child. That's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black feminine female emotionalism. They become bitchy. They're doubtful. They're indecisive. They can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years, so what do we have to get liberated from them from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in that. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had to have built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women, because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer. They keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement, because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good, and that he is not deserving of respect. He is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them. The major responsibility that the black woman has had on the earth for the the trillions of years that we have been here has been one of nutrition and birthing children. Those two things have a great deal to do with the survival of any people, the reproduction of the nation, and feeding them the proper food so that they can live. Those are very important jobs. Those are very powerful positions, because it puts us in a position to decide who's going to live or die, and how slow they're going to die by what we feed them. We have a very powerful position. That's not a small role that we.
Okay, and we're back, and that was Sister Sherazad Ali sharing her views on the current state of affairs within the black family. And as I said before we played the clip, several people were a bit upset about, some of the things that she addressed in the clip, because as women, sometimes we don't necessarily want our actions and our attitudes put under the microscope, but we need to look at both halves of this equation as black women and as black men, because that's the only way that we're going to solve this issue, is that we have to figure out what's going on and then come together. And everybody needs to come wearing their adult underwear and be adults in the conversation and really have an honest dialogue and unify, because our survival at this point depends on it.
Right. This is basically our black survival that's going on at this current state of black America. I mean, we have to look at what's going on right now in the community, with brothers getting gunned down, sisters getting gunned down, our youth getting gunned down in the street, and we need to come together and express ourselves, just, letting everyone know that, yes, there is unity in the black community, and just embrace what that blackness is and what we know
of ourselves that is a great thing going on within us. So we need to share that with each other, get back to the family, the community, and, helping one another out, and just embracing what we already have.
And, when I was younger, it was so funny because I was like note-folding queen, and I could not wait to be in love. And part of that was what I saw on men and black women and also the music. And it's kind of like, we want to ask the question, did the music die when the shows like Video Soul and Midnight Love and all those things died? Is that where this new culture of kind of being somebody's side piece instead of being somebody's wife, or at least being in a committed relationship, there was a meme floating around which I thought was peculiar. So it says, it should say I would rather, but it says I'd rather be a side chick to a loyal digger than a main chick to a cheater. How ignorant is that? It's like, okay, so is he not also cheating on you? So somehow because you're the side chick and you know what's up and the main chick does not, that means that that's better. And first of all, I don't want to be anybody's chick.
Right. Because
I'm a woman. I am the mother of civilization. I am a queen.
Right.
And so therefore I don't want to be anybody's chick. And not to be, judging anybody or anything like that, because I had that mentality for, on this path, because we are all at different points on the path. And when you wake up and you start to see things, like, you just know that's not going to stand. And let's not do other people's jobs for them in destroying our community.
Right. It seems like the things that are going around on social media, it seems like a lot of what's happening, it seems like the black consciousness seems to be like we're at teenager mode. No longer are we grown and sexy black people. We are just teenagers running around calling each other B's and the N's. And it's like, how, and I always go back to how things were in the 90s, because it was so grown. And you were growing up looking at grown people interact with other grown people, kind of like the movie, what's that movie? Love Jones.
Yeah.
You had Love Jones, and it was just so grown. The dialogue was real. Grown people, grown. It was just, the atmosphere was so different than what we're seeing now in today's movies and today's media. And it feels like what we're hearing now and what's going on now with these memes for social media, Twitter, Instagram, it seems like people are turning into teenagers. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what's going on with that.
And just for everybody listening, so we are going to play something from that time period, although this is actually the 80s and not the 90s. But the 80s were good, too, because I am an 80s baby. Well, I grew up in the 80s. Actually, I'm not an 80s baby, but I'm not going to say how old I am. But, yeah. Oh, and you know what? After this song, we'll tell our story.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that. Yes, we'll talk about that. All right. Here it is. This is Force and Bees and Tender Love.
Tender love.
Mondays. This is C. Tono. The number to call in is 347-633-9644. We would love to hear what you have to say about the Black love, what is Black love to you, and how Black love is prevalent in your life. The number again is 347-633-9644.
And it's a song, so we just played Tender Love, and he is talking about candlelight and surrendering. Do we even know what that means today? Because people hear surrender and they get all of these like negative connotations as if that means that you are losing something when you surrender to not, and I think people get confused because they feel like that means to surrender to another person. Well, really it's talking about is that energy, that love energy, and letting yourself feel safe in that and being comfortable in that.
I think a lot of our language, our dialogue has been lost in the sauce, I would say. Just how we talk to each other, the words that we use are so different now than what we were using before. So it's like when we're talking about Black love, what are we really talking about? Are we talking about the love between, the man and the woman, the love between, the parents and the child, the love between, the community? What are we really talking about when we say Black love, and where are we going with our music? Because the music used to be really powerful, and it was about love, about Black love, and being, like Speakyamind was saying, surrendering your love to someone else, your heart, and not, it's not, a tangible thing. It was more of a feeling for someone. So it's like the music was so powerful back then, and we would love to know, what happened to that feeling, that love, that everything that embraced the togetherness of Black people. So, where are we now?
If the music is any indicator, because when we think about how the music has changed and how people are now producing loveless music that's full of materialism, loveless sex, disrespect, side pieces, or is it just me? Am I just old?
Old is relative. I can't just say you're old. You are not old, so it's...
And you know what? Let's get to, our story, a little background on us. Do you want to tell a story?
Not really.
Okay, so, I guess since y'all are all first-time listeners, Sifu and I are married, and we have been married since 2011. So, but before that, we were actually friends and business partners for 5 years, which I always laugh when people ask, how did you all meet? And Craigslist, which totally cracks me up, and we laugh a lot about that because, and it's not even what people think. It's more of, us being like, okay, I was actually looking for an artist because I had another company that I had started, a girlfriend of mine, and we needed somebody to do our logo and some T-shirts and other things for us, and we contacted Jamal was one of the people, Sifu Mikono was one of the people that answered our ad on Craigslist looking for an artist, and I loved his work. His art was absolutely phenomenal, which you all see if you look at Foxy and other artwork that he's done for other people. It was beautiful. And so one day I called him, and I was like, hey, I've been looking for these T-shirts. I can't find them. And he was like, yeah, nobody's doing that. So we had already become friends just from working together on another project. And so we started hanging out.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We had a few little technical difficulties here. So we are working it out, and we're back. So you can go ahead and continue.
So basically, I guess where she left off, I was kind of hitting on her. I really was not. I was just being a good friend to Miss Foxy Mama right here. And what what I came to realize was, I guess it was kind of hitting on because you completely shut it down to
it wasn't
the
even
ground.
kind of, yeah.
Basically, what did you say? You said if you ever try to step in and step to me,
because
you will be sorry.
You cannot be friends with somebody. You knew stuff because I had shared things with you on a friend level because we were not like that. So you knew, like, insider secrets. And then you tried to use that to woo me. And that's like foul on the play. That's flag. That's flag on the play.
That was still coming from a completely different area because we were good friends. We were actually best friends.
Yes.
So you should understand I was coming from that area, but you were still dealing with some stuff.
And, and I thank you for being patient enough for 5 years for me to heal from all those things and still be around.
Well, I mean, I had to. You were my best friend. I mean, we did everything together.
This is true. We did.
Everything except for being intimate. I mean, we never were intimate until we got married.
Right. And that is true. And so I wanted to say about that, even just as far as I think these days, just people taking that time to really get to know people.
Yes.
On a much deeper level than being surface. Because you know how many times we talk to people and they tell us what their ideal mate looks like, or they have this entire laundry list of items or this checklist that they have to go by for what that perfect person for them, what they think that perfect person for them is. And it's all surface stuff. It has to do with how the person looks, how much money they have, whether or not they have good credit. Do they have their own house? Do they have a car? Like
they're going by like some type of playbook, relationship playbook. All right, you need to be 6'2", 175 pounds, goatee, good dresser, sharp talker. It's like, no. How about you just relate with somebody on a different level, and maybe that person needs to be on a different vibration and attract a different type of person, to get to know instead of always dealing with the surface. Because if you only deal with mostly the surface when you are looking for someone to be with, looking for a mate, I mean, you're always going to be disappointed because the surface will always be, it's not real. What you're seeing is not real. What you're feeling, that's real. The surface, it will let you down every time. So I definitely appreciate, how we interact with one another and how we just on a different level, and how I always tell Foxy Mama we seem to be an anomaly because you don't really see this black love between the man and the woman, anymore. This is like, what's going on with that? Like, it's like everybody I know. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people I know are either getting divorced or breaking up or just
Or I mean, even the things that we've even dealt with the last couple of years would have broke people up. Like they would have just been like, you know what, I'm done, I'm out. And not to mention the fact that there is a 6-year age difference between us.
Yeah.
And that also could have played a factor, but it really didn't.
I mean, it would have been a factor if we were like elementary school or something. But once you get past a certain age, it really doesn't matter. It all depends on where you're coming from. I guess your conscious realm, your consciousness that you have within you, bringing out the God within. I mean, so it doesn't really matter the age. Although we tell people, and they're like, "What?"
Right, that they have no idea that you're younger than me.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was going to say something else.
All the people always think I'm older.
Right.
I'm really not.
I mean, and you told me, like, you were like, this is on a spiritual level, and I was just like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you told me that a long time ago, and I was just like, whatever, you are crazy.
I mean, because you was dealing with some other things.
Right.
We kind of nipped in the bud.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all good now. It was definitely a process.
And we both had some growing to do.
Yes.
To be the people that we currently are now.
Definitely.
And we have, in that coming together, has helped us both become and continue to become the people that we were going to be and to continue on that path of being and having this spiritual, well, actually being spiritual beings having a human experience. Exactly, so we're still growing in that, and it's good to actually have somebody to be able to do that with and have these conversations with, because it's like, we study, and it's like, we could both be reading the same thing, and you'll get one thing, and I'll get something else, and it's like those two halves are coming together, and then we're talking about it because we're seeing it from different perspectives, but those two perspectives are giving us the whole picture.
Right, and it's definitely refreshing to have someone that is not only on your level, but understands where you are coming from on a daily basis, and not talking to somebody like, you need to step, because I don't know what you're talking about with this whole consciousness tip, with this whole tip, Aviva Fahodie, Peace Queen, God and Goddess thing going on. So and I hear a lot of people going through that with their man, with their woman, and how they are progressing, and their man or their woman is kind of stuck or digressing from where they are. So it's definitely refreshing to be with Foxy Mama and just being able to talk to her on a different level on a daily basis. So it's definitely a blessing, and that's our quick story about Foxy Mama and seafood.
Right. So it's like, here we are, 8 years later, 3 businesses and 2 babies, and here we are. So.
Yeah, here we are.
So, and I mean, as we were looking for and doing more research for the show, I came across some things that I was like, wow, so this is a topic and a conversation that people have. And there's actually a book called Black Love is a Revolutionary Act. And one of the things that they say, let me pull that up so I can read that. It says, what is a Black Love Revolution? A Black Love Revolution is a transformation of Black minds, bodies, and spirits. A fundamental change in the way we think, speak, and act towards one another. Black love is cherishing our ancestors by acknowledging their pain and vowing to never let our history repeat itself. Black love is having empathy for those who are still suffering in a nation whose riches were built on the sweat, blood, tears. Black love is unity, standing together, protecting one another, and recognizing that we are in this together. Black love is belonging to each other again. Black love is a return to the kind of love we once had for one another before we were robbed of knowledge of self. A Black love revolution is the love between a Black man and a woman, between a Black woman, between a parent and a child, a sister and a brother, a neighbor or a co-worker, an acquaintance or a stranger, a deep, abiding love for itself. And I love the fact that, it ends with the most powerful act a Black man and a Black female can commit is to love one another.
That's powerful.
So just knowing that is so very powerful, and that is exactly what Sister Sherazad Ali was talking about in the clip that we played, how there are these various systems set up to break up the Black family and why that is. And so we must unite, for our survival.
We must.
So do we want to go to, and actually, in speaking of this, Dame Dash in his interviews, I don't know what is going on with him, but he has been dropping some gems lately. And do we want to play
You know what
the
it
clip?
is? Dame Dash has gotten out of America, and he has seen the different peoples, Black peoples, brown peoples, all over the globe, and how they are interacting with each other. And he was like, you know what? What's going on with us here in America? Because he is out doing his thing.
So the clip that we're going to play, it's the tail end of his interview that he did with Sway recently, and he's just the end piece of the interview where he's speaking about his grandfather passing away and about legacy. And so just as Black men and Black women and Black families and Black family units, how many of us are planning, thinking, and operating on this level that we're about to hear him speak about?
Giving everybody that deserves it an opportunity. I love to promote love. That's the shit that protects me. Like, my grandfather passed yesterday.
I'm sorry.
He was 100 years old. And I was in L.A. and they told me he was going to pass, and I was flying in, and it snowed, and I got to go over and see him. And he wasn't even sick. You know what I mean? Like, he had no wild nothing. and he was responsive, and he had a look in his eye, and that shit, it was crazy. And he passed the next day, and my kids, I was with my son and my other son, and I was able to say, you know, this is your grandson, I'm your grandson, and he knows what I did, and this is your great-grandson. Boogie got a chips cookie company. Yeah. He had a restaurant, Buns. He opened up another restaurant. He did a DJ. He has a club that he DJ, you know, part of the club that we own together. So my grandfather at 100, he was responding to him. He was looking at him. And then I showed him Lucky. Lucky's 10. And I was like, you know, he got a girlfriend. We started talking to the girlfriend. He was responding. But it was like this connection that we had. It was ill. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like imagine being 100 and seeing your grandkid and your great-grandkid, and you know your name is going to be all right. But the last thing he heard was me and my kids telling him I love him and that we doing all right. And that I'm going to pass your name, my son going to pass your name, and my other son and everyone else. Your dad's name, you could go and you all right. You going to be here. He saw his legacy in front of him. That shit was the illest thing of all time. And I love him for that experience. That happened yesterday. Wow. The day before yesterday. 100 years old. And he's the one with the, you know, Stacey Dash was made from him. Like with the light eyes and he's the original Pretty Dash. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's 100 years right there. Pure Dash. And I was able to touch him and he was strong. Nothing made him sick. It was when he felt like letting go. I'm part of that. That's 100 years. And just because the rest of his body got tired, not his brain, and his eyes are locked in. I took a picture. I'll show you. That's where I'm from. That's what my DNA is. And that's how I feel. And that shit was crazy. Yeah. It was crazy. It was and you know, Rocky was there, Bianca was there, my dog was, it was crazy. But I want to say R.I.P. to the transition was ill for him. If you want to die, you want to be 100, and you want to see your legacy, I could be a part of that. That was my dream. That's all that counts. You know when somebody loves you when you're about to die. Yeah. The last person you look at, you know that person loves you no matter how much time you spent with them in life. Mm-hmm. And I got to transition out with my father too. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that counts. All this other shit is bullshit. Don't fucking worry about what people think about you. Worrying about how much money niggas got. All that matters is your kids. And how your kids live. And is your kids happy. And that's your legacy. Motherfuckers only trying to make money to pay their own bills. That's some selfish shit. We could all buy clothes. We could all live in a studio apartment. We could all hustle every day. But should our kids have to deal with that? My kid ain't. And my kid's not. And nothing's going to stop me from that. And I'm not worried about nothing but that. It's who I see when I die. That's all that fucking counts. And I hope it's my kid just like he saw his grandkid and his great-grandkid. That's all that fucking counts. He game over. He won. Yeah. 100 years old, didn't die sick, just shut down and saw his kids love him. And it just happened to be the day because it was snowing and everybody couldn't go. Mm-hmm. And what I learned from that was the love. Because every day, my father, he called him Daddy. Every time I saw him, he was with somebody from the family. He always was protected. He was always insulated. Love kept that man alive. Love is the most important and the strongest weapon in the world. That's why I always try to give love, platform, love. Love, love, love. Fuck fighting. That shit is corny. I know how to fight, but I keep it in the ring. Right, Berto?
I saw that, too. Yeah. You said on that, Berto. Did y'all really spar?
Welcome back to Speak Your Mind Mondays with your hosts, Foxy Mama and Sifu Makono. Definitely give us a call in at 347-633-9644. And you can listen online at blogtalkradio.com/mindsmatter.
And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can listen to the always informative Professor Griff and the beautiful and intelligent and always on point Sister Zaza Ali from 8 to 10. Also right here on blogtalkradio.com/mindmatters. And same call-in number, 347-633-9644. And we do have a couple callers in the queue. So you want to take a call?
Let's get a call.
Okay. So we are live with the caller from the 609 area code. You are on with Foxy Mama and Sifu Makono.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got into the show. This is my first time listening, so I didn't exactly know what the topic was.
We're talking about black love.
Black love.
Black love, yes.
Sir.
That's what's up. That's what I'm about. That's why I'm here. May I ask y'all names? Because I didn't see it on the screen when I dialed in.
Okay, it's I'm Foxy Mama, and my co-host is Sifu Mukono.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
I'm all right. So it's basically like you just call in and just say what you feel. Could y'all chime me in?
Yeah, because you had your hand up and said you had a question, so we were like, okay, we got a caller.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I pressed 1, but since I'm in here, I guess I will ask a question. What do you think about charter schools?
Brother,
and I only asked that question because it personally affected me because I've seen the way it's taken over the city where I live at. So, and I don't know enough about it. So that was just my question. I don't know exactly what type of line of questioning I can ask, but that's just something that interested me, and that's why I asked.
Well, you know what, that's actually education. And we do our show on education because we are going to talk about that because we are currently looking at either sending our daughter to a charter school or homeschooling, but we're actually leaning more towards homeschooling only because charter schools are still following Common Core and they're doing other things. But we will definitely keep that question in mind and address that on another show. And also, our show is more about you to call in and say what's on your mind.
Yeah, definitely. So, let us know what you're thinking.
Okay. No, that's pretty. You mean like negative, positive?
It don't matter. Whatever is on your mind. Like, this is a platform for the people to speak their mind.
You know what's on my mind? And this is for all the black people that are listening. Don't believe the hype. Every time, the perception that you see on TV is not the way things actually are all the time. Don't believe the hype. And black people are doing a lot better than what people may think we are doing. And there's a lot more positive black people out there than there are negative. So that's what I had to say.
All right. Thank you, brother, for speaking your mind. Thank you, definitely.
You're welcome. And thank y'all for having this platform. Y'all the positive black people that I talk about.
All right. Be safe, brother.
All right, so that was a caller we had from New Jersey. You want to know about charter schools? And yes, he is definitely right, because that is another reason that we picked tonight's show topic was because of all the images that we currently see in the media. And it's like, where is the love? Where are all the images of strong black couples? And I know, and actually on top of my mind, it comes to mind is more or less like the show, was it Blackish? With Tracy Ross and Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, and what's the dude? Morpheus.
Lawrence Fishburne. Right. So that is one. And so now, just what Dame was talking about, though,
right.
How many of us are even planning to that level? Like, what? And I know we always say that we're legacy building because we want to make sure that, I was raised to believe that you always take it a step further than what your parents took it.
Oh,
you always keep it going a step further, and that's what we're instilling in our children.
Right.
But on another level, instead of giving them the whole speech that your options are either go to the military or go to college, we're like, look, you have 3 options. You either start your own business, you learn a trade, or you go to college. And no matter which option you choose, if you decide to learn a trade or go to college, you do that with the intent that you are going to start your own business.
And definitely, we are giving our kids just the foundation to build upon them being whatever they want to be in this life, in this world, because no one has any right to tell you can't be anything you want to be. So we are instilling in our kids, look, you want to be, you can be what you want to be. Just know that, there are certain steps you need to do. It doesn't necessarily require college. It requires some type of skill.
Right. And knowledge.
And to get there.
Information.
Apply yourself and applied information
right.
to take those steps to doing what you want to do. Because I mean, looking at it, the most successful people didn't go to college, but they had the drive enough to pursue their dreams and their goals, and they didn't let anyone tell them they couldn't do anything. So we are definitely instilling in our kids, that you can do and be anything you want to be, just have that foundation under.
Yes, and constantly telling them and reinforcing the message that they are strong, that they are beautiful.
All the time.
Always giving them that solid foundation to build from. Because as we've been looking at people who have been, quote unquote, successful, or what people deem to be successful, but even taking that a step forward, because what is success? As we were saying, when women go over, or even men have these lists of qualities that they want in a person, they have all these surface things that it's like, okay, if that man lost, and I'm just seeing this from a perspective as a woman and having conversations with all my sisters, well, not all my sisters, but various sisters and the women that I know, it's like, okay, so if something happens and that man is disfigured and he's no longer attractive,
right,
or he loses that quote-unquote good job, or his car, or all those material things, you strip all that away from that man, what's left? Exactly. Who is he? Exactly. Who is that man going to be, and how is he going to treat you in those lean times? And right, can you sustain and maintain your relationship and your family?
Right. I mean, sisters, we're not telling you to go out and get no, toe-down dude, please us. Definitely build on what it is you are actually looking for, and not the surface of what you're looking for.
Well, y'all are surface too.
Of course
I mean,
surface.
You chiming in about the surface, but y'all are surface too.
I understand it. We are. I mean, just look at, this whole movement, the natural hair movement. But you look at the natural hair movement, and most of them sisters are putting so much foundation and makeup, caking their face up to it's where they're not even what they are appearing to be. You take all that off, and they don't look nothing like that. So why is it that we have to put on a different face in order for, I guess, people to accept who we are, or put on this image that, this, it's like we need to get back to black is beautiful. Our skin, our natural skin, we do not need that much to put on. It's here. We got enough hue, enough melanin on our faces and our bodies to not have to do all of that. Because when you strip all that down, yeah, she's going to look like a different person. And I know that's a whole different topic. But just being real.
But just on the whole, okay, but even for you to say that, do you not think that pressure comes from the media?
Of course.
And this whole, I mean, like we said, we're looking at a different world, and people were not all overly made up like that. People's hair was not like flawless. They looked like real people.
And it was brown all over the board. You had light brown, dark brown. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
But not only that, though, people came from various backgrounds, various walks of life. They had various life experiences. True. They were not all just, either like hood. They weren't all like extra bougie. Like there was a good mix of different people to show that diversity and variety that we have. But the point that I really want to get to, because I said this to somebody earlier, it's like, we hear that, brothers say there are no good women, or, how they're a good dude and they can't meet a nice woman, and women want all, men that have X, Y, Z, that have it all together. And so they get overlooked as a good dude because they don't have all the material things that women seem to, or some women seem to think that brothers should have. And then on the flip side of that, you have women complaining that there are no good men for any number of reasons, because we've all heard it and we've all been a part of those conversations. Mm-hmm. So there's no need to necessarily go over it because speaking about, but how is it then that these good men and these good women are missing each other? Why can they not seem to find each other and get together?
Not on the same
vibration. What is that going on with us as a community? Because there are a lot of single men out here, black men, and then there's a lot of single black women. How do we get them together?
It sounds like a lot of us are dealing with internal issues, internal struggle, to finding someone else when we need to definitely tackle the issue of ourselves. Who are we? Who are we? And with that said, we are going to take a call. Caller from the 111 looks like a computer. Welcome to Speak Your Mind Mondays with Foxy Mama and Sifu Makono. You are on.
I'm sorry, I didn't expect you guys to get to me so quick. I just have a quick comment, and then I'm going to continue. I heard the brother say that one of the problems was that sisters wear too much makeup, and when they strip all that off, that they look different. I just want to offer this. I hear that comment coming from so many black men on social media forums when people began to talk and have conversations about what's ailing the black community. But I want that brother to know that that is very weak and asinine, because what we need to be talking about is building a community. To concern yourself about makeup is a petty, small thing. We need to concern ourselves about finances, educating children, getting out of this matrix in a methodical way. We need to talk about being self-sustaining. I don't give two damns about what kind of makeup my sister has on. All I'm concerned about is, can we network? If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. If it's not about building families and proper fences, then it don't make sense. It's petty, and this is what's going wrong with black love. I'm going to say what many black women won't say. The black woman is disappointed. This black man out here is disenfranchised, and he's asked out, and the only person he can take it out on is the black woman, because nobody will respond to him, takes it out on her. Thank y'all for your time, and you can carry on. I'll mute myself.
Thank you, sister. That was outstanding. Thank you for dropping that dime. And we definitely appreciate everyone that is calling in, chiming in to Speak Your Mind Mondays. We're going to take another call from the 404.
Hello.
You're on Speak Your Mind Mondays with Foxy Mama and Sifu Makono. How can we help you? What's going on? Speak your mind to us.
Peace, peace. Appreciate you taking the call.
No problem.
Kind of piggyback on what the lady just spoke about. Makeup, hair dye, food that we eat, what we drink, none of that's petty. It has everything to do with the healthiness of our mind and our body. None of that stuff was meant for us. And like everything else, we need to separate ourselves from all of that mess, because all we're doing is poisoning ourselves. If I was her, I would, do some research and find out what hair dye and thyroids, the connection to that, makeup and thyroids and high blood pressure and all those other things, and what are we giving our babies? When these women have these babies and they have all that crap on them. So petty is important as well. Thank you.
Right. Definitely. Thank you, sir, for your call. Definitely informative. And that's how we roll on Speak Your Mind Mondays. Speak your mind to us. Let us know how you feel about the topic at hand, about what's going on in your daily life. And the topic for tonight is black love. What is black love? Is black love dead? Who killed it? If it is
Who
dead.
or what killed it?
Or what killed it?
I think it's been systematic. And just to touch on what the brother and sister both just called in and said, in general, the war is being waged on several fronts with us as a people. Yeah. So none of it is really necessarily petty or minor because of the ways in which this thing is going down. So all of those pieces are important, but I think it's very, and this is just strictly my opinion, speaking on mine, in my mind, it's important that everybody pick up whatever mantle is important to them and go forward with that. Right. But there are a lot of things in the environment, things that we put on our skin. As the saying goes, what you put on your body will eventually be in your body. So in order to actually even be able to combat the system that we currently live in, and in order to unite as a people, all of us being healthy mentally, spiritually, and emotionally is very important to everybody.
Yes, that is the only way we are going to progress as a whole Black family. We have to be healthy, mind, body, spirit.
Yes, but I do agree that sometimes we can, and like I said, I relate to both what each of the callers said, and we do have to, be mindful of all facets of it.
Right. Definitely.
So, yeah.
I appreciate her passion. It was on point.
Yes, it was.
And, yes.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and get to some more callers.
Say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. Wear your pride on your chest with Foxy's unique limited edition apparel for men, women, and kids. Check them out at myfoxy.com. That's myfoxy.com. At Foxy, they even have a variety of art, pillows, and more at myfoxy.com. Use coupon code MMBTRS14 and get 10% off your order. Get Foxy.
All right, and we're back. And speaking of that, I would also like to say, just kind of in leading into that, our sisters really disappointed in brothers. And I will say, I was reading something earlier, and oh gosh, I can't remember what I was reading. Okay, I read a lot, so I'm kind of a book nerd. But the quote, the quote was saying, the book was saying that women, in a way, at this point, are a bit furious and a bit frustrated, going all the way back to slavery, because they ask the question, or feel that Black men should have done something more than what was done. Really, in just studying and knowing that there were a lot of things done. And until you really start to delve into history and you really get to see, because a lot of the information is not promoted. So nobody tells you that there was all these revolts, or that before we even got, as they were walking us to the ships, to get to the coast from the interior of Africa, that people were fighting all along the way, and that it was not just this easy thing that people just went willingly into slavery and that Black men didn't do anything. And even now that Black men are not doing anything.
Right.
And because there are those Black men among us who are doing the work.
There are a lot of soldiers among us that are doing the work, and it's not going to be televised. So everybody should know, no, the revolution will not be televised, and it is going on as we speak, and that is exactly how, it should be. It should not be televised on social media or anywhere else. So, yes, there are plenty of people doing the work that are.
So why shouldn't it be televised on social media and everywhere else? Which is, I'm glad that you said that, because it goes into the quote that I was going to read from Message to Black Men. Thank you. And what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to say about that. Okay, so he says, is not your woman more valuable than the crop of corn, that crop of cotton, that crop of cabbage, potatoes, beans, tomatoes? How much more valuable is your woman than these crops, that you should keep the enemy from destroying the crops? Yet you are not careful about your women. You don't love them. Why? Is it because you allowed visitors to run in and out of your house? Thus they have destroyed your love for your woman, and your woman has not the love for you that she should. That is a good sign. Until we learn to love and protect our woman, we will never be a fit and recognized people on the earth. The white people here among you will never recognize you until you protect your woman. And he goes on to say, she is your first nurse. She is your teacher. Your first lesson comes from your mother. If you don't protect your mother, how do you think you look in the eyes of other fellow human beings? So in hearing that as a Black man, yes, there is more that can be done. So yes, definitely elevate and uplift sisters in all spaces.
Definitely.
All across the board. So yes, whether it be on social media, on TV, radio, in common conversation every day. It does not matter. That should be done.
It should be.
Every day.
Every day. All day, 24/7. And just as we're saying that, we we have different platforms that we work on, and we have a page on Instagram. And just seeing, it's funny how people will follow you and unfollow you on that Instagram world, and how we started putting up a lot of different images, promoting Black love, Black unity, Black community, Black pride, Black power, and how we have gotten a lot of great feedback, and people have fallen off because people don't want to deal with Blackness at all.
Yes, and then there are people, because I have actually lost quite a few friends, quote unquote, whatever. Which I was honored.
Are these actual friends, or are these?
Some of them have been actual friends, yes. People that I have known for a long time, yes. But I'm honored to be unfriended when somebody tries to say that, all love is relevant, that all lives matter. And I don't disagree with that. All lives do matter. And all love is beautiful. However, as a Black woman who is married to a Black man with Black children, Black love and Black lives are just as important to me. And saying so does not lessen or negate or take away from anybody else. And that, I think, is a lot of what's going on, because people feel like as soon as you start saying Black this, Black that, like it's negating everything else, or that you automatically hate other people. And it's not even about that. Like, we are coming from a stance of loving our people, uplifting the community, and venerating our people. And the legacy that we are currently standing on, that our ancestors have left for us. And continuing that love and doing, and anything less than that, we are remiss as Black people on this earth.
And we would love to hear what you have to say about the topic. Please chime in at 347-633-9644 and follow us online at blogtalkradio.com/mindsmatter. And we would like to take a caller from the 917 area code. Welcome to Speak Your Mind Mondays. Speak your mind to us. Caller from the 917. How you doing? 917. No 917. Caller from the 404. Speak your mind to us on Speak Your Mind Mondays. You are on. Caller from the 404. Caller from the 404. I guess people out to lunch. But anyway, back. We are Black to Speak Your Mind Mondays. Oh, let's take another call. Caller from the 336 area code. Welcome to Speak Your Mind Mondays. Speak your mind to us. Who are we talking to?
Peace, fam. How y'all doing? This Shakir.
Peace, Shakir. Peace, brother Shakir.
Peace, sis. I hope everything is well. I was listening. I told you I was listening to the show, so it's a very interesting topic. First thing about Black love. It says that God is love and love is God. And for you to be able to reach that love, the first thing you have to have is first a knowledge of self, right? For you to be able to connect to that God force that's inside of you, because you're not a physical being having a spiritual experience, you're a spiritual being having a physical experience, which is you. So that energy or that ether is the God force inside of you. So love is God and God is love. But in order for you to understand that, the first thing you need is a thorough knowledge of yourself. So that comes through doing investigation, doing what your ancestors have contributed, reading certain books, where to start, and things of that nature. The second thing you need is a knowledge of others, right? So if you don't have a thorough knowledge of your open enemy, which is racism, white supremacy, and all their facets, if you don't have a thorough history of the white man, how they got on the planet, where they came from, by studying their own educators and scientists from DNA to genetics and understanding their genetic makeup and how they got here, how they're the last people to come into existence on our planet. So you need a thorough knowledge of yourself, then you need a knowledge of others, then you need a knowledge of God. But when you get a knowledge of self, you're going to get a knowledge of who and what God is, right? So that will allow you to connect to that that God force and understand who God is and what God is, and now you understand why God is love and love is God, because when you love yourself, you love God.
So how do we get our people back to that, though, by and large, with all of these people who are searching for one another, that are searching, you know, black men searching for black women.
This is what I'm breaking down. So those 3 steps, knowledge of self and knowledge of others, then the knowledge of God is going to reacquaint you with the self, right? That awareness, right? So once you allow with that, you'll no longer be getting what you've been getting, because love spelled backwards is what you've been getting. And what is love spelled backwards? Do you know what it is?
Evil.
There you go. So black men and black women have been receiving a love from each other because they don't have a knowledge of themselves. They've been receiving the reverse of that. And they do evil to one another in these so-called committed relationships, because a marriage is a contract. And once somebody's not meeting the obligations of a contract in business, it's null and void.
Right.
So if people can't so if people can't honor their contracts and they don't have a knowledge of themselves, they just going to go around breaking the law. And law is what? Transgression against the law is sin. If you can't keep the law, it's already set up. The law of physics is already here.
Right.
So when you get acquainted with love, that's to understand the natural laws that you cannot break between a man and a woman. It's not all the woman's fault, and it's not all the man's fault. It was brought up to you on a divide and separation system for you to become enemies of one another. And once you put down all the trivial things, and you have to meet each other like water, you have to meet where you are at your own understanding, at your own level, and then build from there. Whether you come together on food, or come together on clothing, or come together on books, or come together on family, you have to meet and start somewhere. And then you can start breaking all those other dividers apart to where there's nothing dividing you, and then we become holistic again. So when we once were holistic people, we therefore separate religion from God, from agriculture, from science, and from mathematics. We studied it all as a whole with no separation in it.
Right.
All right.
And that's all I wanted to say. Peace, fam.
Peace. Shakir.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind Mondays, where this is the platform for the voiceless to speak what is on your mind. The topic for today is Black love. Who killed Black love? What is Black love, and how do we get back to this whole notion of Black love? And our last caller, Shakir, Brother Shakir, just broke it down to us on a completely different realm of understanding of what Black love is. You must have knowledge of self, the God self. So what is the God self? Well, that's a show topic for a different day.
All right, and so we're going to play a song for y'all, which is, I know you don't be vibing with the French Neo Soul, but I love French Neo Soul, so if you have never heard it before, now's your chance, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Speak Your Mind Mondays with your host, Foxy Mama, Eve Fu McConaughey.
And that was Ben Leon Clay Soul, who I love. He does a lot of covers of some old R&B classics, and I'm all about like the old classic R&B that talks about love and being in love and all those wonderful things. So
yes.
That's me.
Great.
You have to be like that. You have to be like that.
The number to dial in is 347-633-9644 and listen to us at blogtalkradio.com/mindmatter.
And also you can listen to Professor Griff and Zaza Ali on Mind Matter, the Enemy Mind radio program on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And they definitely get it on and drop some jewels and some knowledge always.
Right. Black love. What is black love? And what are we?
Not even a notion. It's like just a thing.
It is.
On so many levels. It's physical, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's so many things.
Everything.
Yes.
We are black love.
Yes.
The universe is what?
Black.
The universe is black, and it's love.
Okay, so we're going to also play this clip that was on YouTube also from Statuesque One, and it was interesting to see the comments on this clip that she talks about, and I'm going to play it for you right now.
I've never really spoken on this topic, and I may ruffle a few feathers, but this is what I see. What prompted me to make this video is the fact that earlier today I heard a 14-year-old child say, with attitude, that she was a strong, independent black woman. We have been duped. We have been bamboozled by society, by scare tactics, by conditioning of the media, and by ourselves. Most young African-American women of today have been raised to be strong black women, independent, self-sufficient, and tough. Some of us even describe ourselves as strong, independent black women, and it is something that most of us have been taught that we must aspire to. And if we don't see ourselves in this way, we are considered to be doormats or weak. When the vast majority of young black women of today describe themselves as strong and independent, it has nothing to do with the fact that Harriet Tubman led the slaves through the Underground Railroad. It's not due to inspiration from African women who were warriors in ancient times. It has nothing to do with being the mothers of civilization or the backbone of the community. In speaking with several young women recently who consider themselves strong and independent black women, I asked them to describe what that means to them. And what they said it means is that I make my own money. I can pay my own bills. I can raise my kids by myself. I can defend myself, and I don't need no man. That is the consensus of what they answered. They mean that they are able to take care of themselves and their children, as well they should be able to as adults. But they also seem to mean that they are like men or can replace men. And sometimes we do have to assume the role of a man because they're simply not there. But we can't be men. They seem to believe that as black women, they are supposed to put up with abuse, overwork, exploitation, underappreciation, cruelty, and just plain bull crap, and endure it, and then wear that burden as some sort of badge of honor. As a result, they make reckless choices. They feel like they must always be in fighting back mode, wearing defensive armor, and putting up this peacock defense all the time, hence the attitudes. Unfortunately, this thought process leads to detrimental behavior and lifestyles, as well as bitterness and loneliness. The mistake that many people make based on this image of the strong, independent black woman is that they believe that black women don't suffer emotionally as much as the other non-black population of women because we are thought of as being strong and thus better able to endure emotional pain, disappointment, hatred, rejection, and put-downs. And that assumption is wrong. And the seemingly constant stank attitude that a lot of black women have is a result of this perceived endurance. See, a lot of us have been taught that we have to be aggressive and assertive to make it in this world. We have to display brute force, hence the strong part of the title. We have to have this perpetual chip on our shoulders and dare anybody to knock it off. We can't let nobody step all over us. Being loud, bossy, and belligerent indicates our level of empowerment. The louder and more belligerent we are, the more we will be appreciated and recognized for our strength. In trying to live up to this image, the stereotype of that image becomes a reality. There is much criticism attached to this strong, independent black woman title, although a lot of women think that the title brings respect and admiration. And at one time, it actually did. But the definition of that title has morphed from something positive into something negative. A lot of black women have been bamboozled into believing that they have to live up to or claim this title in order to be accepted and taken seriously, mostly by other black women. That by saying, I'm a strong, independent black woman, it automatically puts you in some elite status when it actually does the exact opposite. Like I said, the thing that made me make this video is hearing that child say that she was a strong, independent black woman. How in the hell is a child a strong, independent black woman? It's like any and everybody is running around claiming to be strong and independent no matter what their status is. And it makes the whole thing pretty silly when you have women who are not taking care of a damn thing, on welfare, crackheads, just anybody, even kids running around screaming that they are strong, independent black women. It's a joke and a mockery. Another thing is that a lot of black women have had it pounded into their heads that black men ain't nothing no matter what. And so therefore, they themselves must replace the black man in all areas or become the man. They must handle it all on their own or at least maintain some grip of control on all aspects of whatever is going on because he can't be trusted to do it. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing anyway, so they have to supervise and be the one in control. The strong, independent type of woman will usually, in her younger years, choose to be with a Ray from up the street type of guy who is not on her perceived financial or intellectual level. She will possibly get pregnant by this guy, and then when she gets older, she will go and try to get a guy who is on her perceived level. At this point,
so that was Statuesque 1, and that video is on YouTube, and it is titled The Strong Black Woman Has Been Bamboozled. And we hear this kind of dialogue, and I am of the mind that sometimes we miss a huge chunk of historical context when we make generalizations about why various women have attitudes or chip on their shoulder and all these various things. Like, we have a tendency to forget that just as the black man has suffered, the black woman has suffered right along with him. Exactly. And how we are both dealing with all of the things that have been heaped on us, not just from the things that we live day to day, but just that ancestral memory of all the things that have happened in America and also throughout the world, like how we deal with those things and how we combat those things and deal with those things, and where a lot of those are like deflector shields.
Right. Right. You got a black man that's stressed, and you best believe that the woman is stressed as well.
Right.
Because that energy force that you both are living off of, you know, once you made that bond with each other, then you both feel that. So it's twofold. Black women feel the burden, black men feel the burden. So we're both dealing with it in our own ways. It's the same issue, but we tend to go about it in a different way. And it's also, you know, this whole notion of you got the angry black man, then you got the angry black woman, and it's like that's just remnants of years of just back and forth amongst just, you know, white supremacy, what we like to call white terrorism, and it's just going back to slavery, you know, and it's just this whole dichotomy of what has happened to us over the years and how we have not yet dealt with it. You know, what it is that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a whole system that is built to tear us down and to keep us down. And destroy the black family. And destroy the black family. And a very good video to watch on YouTube is Dr. Frances Cresswell's lecture on Black Love is a Revolutionary Act. So if you have not seen that, that is one that she really goes in about that, as well as Dr. Amos Wilson
talking about Black love, Black male and female relationships, and they put what this young lady in her clip was saying into its proper context and talk about all of the outcroppings of the effects of all of those things that you were just talking about. So it's like, yeah, angry Black men are like a threat to society at large, or at least that's the image that they portray, and then the angry Black woman is a threat to Black men. And then on the flip side of that, it's also interesting how, and it's so funny that this kind of is coming up in the conversation this way, but Azealia Banks, how she built up her following when she was, you know, talking about reparations for Black people and, you know, Black people taking ownership of hip-hop again and all of these things, and she's crying on the radio, and then she sprung Playboy on everybody, which everybody's like, oh my gosh, that came out of left field. But then in her interview with Playboy, she talks about how she doesn't even like to date Black men, that she likes to date white men, and she likes to date older white men at that, because she said she has to fight enough when she walks out of her door that she doesn't need a battle when she gets home. And so she doesn't have that same beef in her house, and her house is harmonious when she dates a white man.
When she's dealing with a whole entirely different beast, dealing with the other side of the spectrum.
As a friend once told me, she said she does not date white people, because, especially white men, because it's like dating racism. And how it's this sense of entitlement that everybody around the globe, no matter where you go, that is the pinnacle. And that a white man, no matter where he is, can date whomever he chooses. And so she said, as far as she was concerned, he would not be able to date her. That she was just removing herself from his pool of choices. That it is a privilege to be with her. And as a privilege he would not have.
Right.
Since as a privilege that has been stolen time and time again. So.
Exactly. I mean, they steal everything else, so why not steal that too?
But I just thought that was very interesting, and also how the media says that, you know, they perpetuate this, and you see it a lot on CNN, which we know just got dinged for their reporting and how racism drives their viewership and their ratings and things like that. But it's perpetuated time and time again that there are no good Black men out there, that, you know, the good ones are either married, in jail, gay, dead, or generally just not interested in having a committed relationship, when, surprisingly enough, the majority of Black men date and marry Black women.
Right. They're just reporting on a small percentage of Black men in America.
Yes.
Which they always tend to do small percentages and then try to blow it up.
Right. And make it seem like that's everybody.
And then the rest of the world looking at us like, what's going on with America? I mean, it's just got all these issues. It makes us look weak over here.
Right. Or you come across people who don't have that much interaction with us as people, and then all of a sudden you have to be someone's guide to the Black experience or to Black life in America, which I wholeheartedly refuse to do, which is also something else that people have been upset with me about. But I'm like, I'm not your tour guide to the America that I live in and to the experiences that I have, or having to explain to you that, guess what, I'm married to a Black man. So if my husband goes out to the store and I know that it should take him a certain amount of time, and a lot of time passes because he's having guy talk about his car in the parking lot taking a little longer than probably what it should have taken, and not to mention that we do live in the South. So that does make me a little nervous, and I know this is a new experience for you, even though the Maryland, D.C. area is below the Mason-Dixon and nobody ever wants to act like they're in the South up near D.C., but you are, but it's still a totally different experience when you get a little deeper south.
Because that area is a bubble. People are in a bubble in that D.C., Maryland, Virginia, DMV area. It's like you're living in the world, but you're inside of a bubble living in the world. It's like everything else is happening outside, and you're kind of cocooned from all of that. But yeah, continue.
So, but talk about what your experience has been like since coming down here. Yes, and seeing that difference and getting to see some of the attitudes that are prevalent in places like Ferguson or other parts of the country that all these other things. I mean, because there was a noose also hanging not too far from us.
Duke University.
Yes, which we don't live too far from.
We're like 5-10 minutes from Duke.
Right.
And to hear that means, and we need to look that up. What's going on with the whole naming of that institution? But yeah, it's that whole thing. It branches from parents. The students there, they didn't get that from just anywhere.
But I'm saying about your experience. So just being down here in general.
Let me just say, being down here, I have seen some things in the South that I've never seen in my life. And I've been in some places all over the United States, New Mexico. I've been in upstate New York, been in DMV.
Which is D.C., Maryland, and Virginia.
Sorry. But yeah, we were at a restaurant, and this older white couple were looking at us, staring at us when we sat down, and I wasn't looking at the couple. The white gentleman kept staring at me, and my wife brought it to my attention that he just kept glaring at our direction. And I wasn't looking at him. I was like, I don't want to promise. He just kept looking at us like he has had some past transgressions with black men, or he has had some things under his belt that he has done, and he just felt a certain way towards me just being in that space. His wife just she didn't even look up.
Yeah,
she
just
kind of put her head down and was just there. But he just kept glaring. Even when someone came and started talking to him, he completely changed his outlook. He changed his face completely. Started talking, blah, blah, blah. As soon as they left, my wife told me that he went back to being red as a tomato, looking dead at my face like, why is he in this space? So I have never witnessed that before. And in the South, man, they will let you know, like, no, you in a different place here. Before it was like, we'll talk in your face, smile, and then we'll stab you in the back.
Right.
I understand that, but man, doing it in your face, I'm getting used to that because that's happened a couple times where people just look at you like, what you doing in here?
Right.
And this is just being in this area of North Carolina. I mean, it's like, I know further south you get, it's going to be, a little worse, but
we didn't even see that driving through Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana.
No, we didn't see any of that.
Right.
But then we didn't go through them sundown towns and where you need to be out before nightfall.
Well, caller from the 111. Hello, caller. You were on with Foxy Mama and Sifu Makono. Welcome to Speak Your Mind Monday.
Caller from the 111. Speak your mind.
Okay.
All right.
So moving on, so we are going to play another song for you all, and this one is a R&B classic from a woman whose voice I feel is phenomenal. The incomparable and unique and lovely voice of Linda Jones, For Your Precious Love, and we'll be right back.
Into each life, a little rain must fall. And every day cannot be Sunday. Every smile is not a smile of happiness. And every tear that is shed is not a tear of joy. I'd like to dedicate this song to all of you lovers out there. Because maybe you have a loved one that's far, far away. Maybe he's across the street. Or maybe she's just in another town. I can imagine when you're all alone in the wee hours of the night. Why don't you get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil and sit down and Lord have mercy decide to write. Knowing all the time that this letter that you write may not be a comfort to your loved one heart. But let me tell you something you can say. You can say, darling, for your precious love, I give you the world on a silver platter. But you know as well as I that you'd be telling a great big lie. And you don't want to do that to your loved one, neither would I. But you can say, darling, for your precious love, I climb the highest mountain. Something, ladies and gentlemen, you could even go out as far as telling him or her that you try to swim the deepest sea. But I think if you all would sit back, relax, put your mind at rest and listen to me, I think I can give you a better understanding of what I'm trying to say. every once in a while and kind of crawl at you. But you know I got a man somewhere out there that I don't mind crawling to. Sometimes I wake up in the midnight hours, tears rolling down my face. And when I look around for my man and can't find him, hey, I'll fall a little lower, look a little higher, kind of pray to the Lord. Because I always believe that the Lord can help me if nobody else could. But sometimes I think he don't even hear me. So I have to fall a little lower on my knees, look a little higher, kind of raise my voice a little higher. And this is what I say when I call for my man. I especially want you ladies to listen to me, because maybe you can try this. It might help you every once in a while. This is what you say when you call on your man. Listen to me, too.
And we want to come to the segment of our show where we like to spotlight people who are doing great works in the community, because oftentimes people are unaware of the different activities that are going on all across the nation and sometimes in other parts of the world, and the efforts that we are all taking to do the work in the community. So who do you have for your community spotlight this evening?
Well, I have this sister hit me up earlier today on the Speak Your Mind page, and they are Conscious Connection. It is CONSCIOUS and it is a dating site specifically designed to help connect Black people with a cultural consciousness to build sustainable and culturally rich families, find people who share your interests. And it's a pretty cool site, just to meet other like minds, and that's what we are building. Like minds, building like minds. And ConsciousConnection.com.
And that's ConsciousConnexion.com. So check it out, Conscious Connection.
And it is free to sign up.
And for my community connection, if you listen to, which I'm sure a lot of you do, listening to Mind Matter Radio on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you've heard Sister Zaza talk about cooperative economic support our schools. And you can find Cooperative Economic Support Our Schools on Facebook. And the school for this month is Beta Salam Academy. And with Cooperative Economic Support Our Schools, you just give a $20 donation for every 3 months. It's they choose a new school, and it's $20 each month to that particular school. So it's a donation of $60 per school, and it goes directly to the school, and it's actually to support people who have, Black-owned and Black and African-owned and operated schools, so within our community, because as I posted online earlier today, without our children, we don't have a community. And without Black couples, without Black men and women getting together, we don't have children, and therefore we don't have a community. Right. So everything that we are doing as adults, it affects those generations that come after us. Right. And so we all need to get it together, because if we do not, we are going to continue to fail our children And we already know that the schools are not doing an adequate job in educating them. So this is definitely a worthy cause to get behind and support. And on that note, also, if you know of anybody who is doing great work in the community and, you want them to be spotlighted on the show, please let us know. Drop us a message at speakyamind2us@gmail.com. And that is speak, YAMIND, 2, us@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook at Speak Your Mind Mondays. And also, another page on Facebook that we are also doing, and we would love to get up to like 100,000 people so that we can just start shutting stuff down online when ratchet culture and just things, 7-year-olds twerking on the internet does not need to be happening. And that is actually the Social Media Drop Squad. So if you see that, please join that site. Post up those ratchet links when you see them so that we can report them and get those things removed. And this is the first step in also, protecting ourselves in our online community. So let's make sure that we also do that too. What else do we have as far as Black love?
In terms of Black love, it definitely starts with the children. Our children are looking to the adults for inspiration, for guidance, for love, for nurturing, for shelter. And for the adults, we need to pick a cause and fight for that cause.
Can I say something about schools, though, what we were just talking about?
You sure can.
Although this is not Black people, but it still brings to mind as we talk about this, six, assault on our children and the school system. Why is it that this woman that had the affair with the little boy and had babies and went to jail, why is that back in the media? Why is that on the news? And they are touting this as like an underdog story where the people can win. Like, it's okay now that this woman violated her parole and still had contact with him and got pregnant actually while she was out and had to go back to jail. So now she's had 2 babies in prison, but they're actually both teenagers now, and they're painting this as some wonderfully fantastic love story between this ex-teacher and her student, like it's a happily ever after. What is
some sick fantasy that some people tend to have about getting it on with your teacher and vice versa? It's a part of ratchet culture and a part of the agenda that they are trying to push and pass with the whole bill.
Oh, lowering the age of...
With the...
Well, because they've already done that in Australia where they've done away with the age of consent and made it okay for people to engage in activities with children, which is something that we did not even get to touch on because I was very alarmed at a conversation I had last week with some people online saying that they were sexually active at 8 years old, 8 and 11, and how because they felt like it was with somebody else who was maybe a teenager at the time, in both cases it was like a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. I'm like, if you're 8 years old, why are you having sex with a 15-year-old? That is not okay. Right. And they argued that it's okay because men are not scarred by having sex at an early age in the same way that women are, that it wasn't traumatizing and that for them it was cool. And in one instance, a young man said that he was 15 dating a 32-year-old woman, and that he loved the fact that he could go to her house, stay at her house, drive her car, all these things, and he looked really cool to all the other boys in the neighborhood because he was 15 with this 32-year-old woman. And he did not see nor understand nor comprehend nobody on that whole thread except for women were chiming in like you were abused, and that's nasty. Like nobody was getting it. And I just kept saying over and over again, like the fact that you don't see the problem is a problem.
That's a serious problem, and why us guys tend to think that's cool to be getting down like that at an early age. That is abuse. Clearly. So, I mean, it's...
And that's not Black love. And that's just something else that we just, as a community, we'll have to talk about that at some point, too. And we would love to hear what other people think in that regard as well.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. So, we're talking about healthy Black love between adults, and also about familial love within the family and within the community.
Yep. So, we definitely appreciate all of our callers and everyone that chimed in on this topic of Black love and what Black love is.
And shout out to everybody in the chat room.
Definitely love everyone and want to send out our love from Speak Your Mind Mondays with Sifu Makona, Foxy Mama.
Yes.
And so this is definitely going to be an ongoing thing every Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And this show is for the people, so we want to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
And the show is really, it's not so much about us giving our opinions as it is a platform for you to be able to speak. Because right now there's so many things going on. So many people have things on their chest that they want to be able to speak and get out and talk about and have space that they can come together and commiserate and really just know that they are not like suffering alone or going through these things alone. It's like, no, you are not crazy.
Right.
And other people are here that we can relate. And also our goal is also to connect people with other people and organizations that are doing the work in the community so that we can all continue to build and heal and move forward and shine that light and spread that love and empower our people and uplift them.
Yes, that's what we're about with Speak Your Mind Mondays. We would love to hear anything going on in your life, in your daily struggle, in your daily success, in this Black community, in this Black world that we are living in.
And we leave you all with this tonight.